This is called The Things We Leave Behind, and I hope you enjoy. The things we leave behind. The coastline speaks in grand gestures. Watch as a great sweep of turns pass across your vision in a blink, and cormorants orbit like blue bottles against the horizon. The ocean whistles to the shore and finishes in a hiss on the soil-dark sand. The beach is brimming with scallops and the sea glass and the miscellany of plastiglomerate. The beach speckled curlews like hazelnuts. You flay the beach for seashells and hagstones, carving lines in damp sand with your bare feet, flesh to flesh for the next to find. Leave no trace, your grandmother said, scraping the guts from a pollock. The curlew's sickle beaks leave little echoes in the night-dark sand, and the lines on my palms look like the clever feet of a bird. Thank you. So the next one's going to be a little bit more grim, but following a similar theme, I suppose. I write a lot about nature and the relationship between, people and the landscape and how it's all one big messy thing. So this poem is called Gorge. The landscape is slit down its belly like a mackerel, guts glistening, ready to be devoured. Why this relationship of predator and prey, and why, of all things, it is the host we hunger for? The earth beneath our feet has never looked so appetizing. We shovel it down our gullets in heaping handfuls, the grit between our teeth rich on the tongue, and it weighs us down, coating our throats and bellies in its silt as we swallow. Is nothing here salvageable? Nothing at all? It doesn't have to be sacred to be worthy. But the greenery does not grow quick enough for this banquet to be anything other than catastrophic. In these plague times we ache and retch and cry out in anguish, keening for all the footprints lost to the blood-warm soil. I think we could make a home here, if the earth will have us. Don't raise us, please, please don't salt the ground we stand on while there is still ground to stand on. We can still grow thyme, basil, and parsley. So the next poem I'm going to read. The next poem I'm going to read is called Living on the Floodplain. It's kind of my most Cork poem, I suppose. I wrote it in Fitzgerald's Park, I think, in the middle of COVID, during my first year in UCC. And I'm actually leaving Cork tomorrow for a couple of years, probably. We'll see, who knows. So I haven't read this one at anything before, so I thought I'd whack it out now. Tonight seems to be the night for it anyways. So this is called Living on the Floodplain. This place was a swamp once. The silt still seeps from stones in winter, just like the other years. The flood's arms outstretched, a gasp of winter breath rendered white against the landscape. Pencil scratches climb up the doorframe, where every year you took a deep breath and strained against the ruler pressed flat into your scalp, taking measure. Maybe when you were born there was a drought. You could never reach high enough to wrap the floodline with your knuckles. Still tried though. So that's all the normal poems. So that's all the normal poems. If you don't mind, I will be getting weird with it now.
Yes!
These are called, I'm going to read it as one big poem. It's 4 poems. They're called the Whale Fall Verses. And if you don't know what a whale fall is, I'm going to just give a little bit of context, otherwise you're just going to be completely lost. So when a whale dies and it doesn't, get beached, doesn't, come to shore, it sinks all the way down to the bottom of the ocean, to the seafloor, where there's very, very little food on offer. It's very scarce to find any kind of food at all. So these whale corpses coming down attract huge quantities of life from the surrounding miles and miles and miles, who all swarm together around this banquet, essentially, that has just dropped from the heavens to feed them. And it creates this absolutely fascinating and diverse ecosystem, this huge community of various, creatures of all kinds. I think it's a really fascinating kind of phenomenon. So this is a little exploration of that, I suppose. So this is Whalefall versus Phase 1. Mobile scavenger phase. Ratfish, hagfish, sharks smell whale on the water, and swim from afar. They will spend up to 2 years on the whale's soft flesh, fat whittled like soap to bone. And the mobile scavengers say, teeth, 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 we come together in shuttle and shoal, we come together in gills and guts and flood into the atrium of the earth. Deep enough the gannets will not reach us. Hunger, 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 and we have eyes, and we move quickly. Unspooling flesh in pearly ribbons from the carcass, our home, chapel, table, the banquet itself in all its glory. We come here to revel before rot sets in, here in the darkness where noise and smell have been warped by waves. We know this as we swarm like shepherds to the miracle. And we come in teeth, 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 bearing no gifts other than our little bodies and hungry mouths, bearing no gift other than devotion to this cavernous God. Our praise is carnivorous, and this will sustain us for years. Look, 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 we come together. Look how we come together. See us tearing up the sediment in search of the last holy crumb. Look, look at us. How lovely we are. Phase 2, enrichment opportunist phase. The stage during which organically enriched sediments and exposed bones are colonized by dense assemblages of opportunistic polychaetes and crustaceans. Worms in worm sand spirals clatter down the rib cage, our oyster siblings shuffling through sand in gasps, in an exhale, in a flurry, a convulsion of gleaming calcite. Churning in this charming black broth, and the violent violet of mussel shells leaching lipids from bone, gnawing at calcium with teeth that are not teeth exactly, like stars. Pockmarked by unteeth with a constellation, these sea urchin kisses pressed lovingly into bone, flattened against the boundary. The boundary between life and death is thin, and the antidote to descent is decay, if it even lasts that long. Here is the gathering, here is the shoal, slow moving, and some are even still. We have learned how to thrive on morsels like dropped oars from feeders before us. We feast on the crumbs. And we are tiny, and the pressure is immense, and we are all exoskeletons and sightless eyes, leaving barely anything behind us, just enough to continue the cycle, and we gnaw until all we can consume has been devoured. Then we go our separate ways and are devoured also. Phase 3, sulfophilic phase, can last decades. With only skeleton remaining, bacteria begins breaking down lipids trapped inside the bones, generating sulfur. This process of release attracts more bacteria and a larger community of diverse and rare species, more diverse than any other known community on the deep sea floor. And how do we move? We move in silt, in barnacle blush. We breathe the feast, it engulfs us. And to whom do we pray? Our gods are tiny, so much tinier than us, and they hollow out the bones, crying out in rapture, waste not, want not. And we want for nothing. The indigo around us contains all the nutrients we need, and we wait and gape for it to flow right into our minuscule maws. And in rare times of hardship, when the vessel has almost run dry, our tiny, glorious gods offer only plenty. Laying down their microscopic bodies, we swallow them whole. Say it with me. Waste not, want not, waste not, say it, say it. Phase 4. The reef stage. The reef stage is mostly speculation, right? Mostly hypothesis, and how might this sacrifice serve to sustain us, to allow us to also thrive, building a biome, a Banhus, civilization of wonder, and what can we build from these bones? Exist within speculation. The reef has been formed by decades of carnivorous kisses, by ribbon gifts and leagues upon leagues of holy, helpful water. The reef has been formed in the depths. And after the plunder comes riches. And after the plunder comes a garden brimming with bounty, little barnacle blisters like blinking eyes, crusting the once corpse, now cradle, now calcified, now crucified, giving life. This phase is the most miraculous of all. The deep sea floor is stained with abundance, a diversity of species more queer and strange than anything seen before, this spattering of life in the dark, drawing to it yet more life to the bosom of the collective, swarm poetics and once single death is not a tragedy, because what a noble life it led us to. In service of the whole, the gulls who skim the surface of our expansive home, they do not know our names, and their faces are not scrawled in our grand mythologies. We thrive, and the world around us thrives also, at least in speculation. Thank you very much.